Today we're going to look at the new Admech rules that Games Workshop have shown off for the new and upcoming Admech Cavalry and Jump Infantry. Hello and welcome back to Auspex Tactics, the strategy focused 40k channel, where we're all about getting the most out of our miniatures on the tabletop. So as we know, there are going to be new Admech models coming with the dawn of Engine War, though we're not sure exactly when that might be, what with the current virus situation. Today though, in a Warhammer community article, we've got a preview of some of the new rules for some of these. For their disturbing dog-horse cavalry, the Cerberus Sulfahounds and Cerberus Raiders, and their two variants of jump infantry, the Pteraxii Skystalkers and Sterilizers. Obviously this doesn't mean too much in terms of how strong they're going to be without some points costs attached, but it does give us a bit of an idea about how these units might function once on the table. So first of all we have our look at the Cerberus units. They've shown off their nose-mounted flamer type weapon, which is their Sulfur Breath. It's very similar to a standard flamer, except it's pistol d6 rather than assault d6. It gets AP-1, and in addition it also ignores cover, so I'm not too surprised that they're fairly close ranged. The extra AP-1 and ignoring cover are really handy little assets, and they make them far more threatening against light infantry than standard flamers are. It's pretty cool that they're pistol d6 weapons as well, which means that you really wouldn't want to be in protracted combat with these guys, particularly as the riders also seem to be armed with pistols as well. And they do mention in the article down below that the Sulfahounds have a special rule that allows you to shoot pistol weapons even after they've advanced, increasing the threat range of their breath. Naturally it's going to depend on exactly how much they cost, but as this guy seems to have twin Phosphor Serpentas on the go, as well as the fire from the Sulfur Breath, it seems that they're going to pack a fair amount of punch up close, though obviously it'll be their points cost that actually determines how good they are. It'll be quite interesting to see what sort of size units that we can take these in. In the artwork in the article itself, it seems to have them in units of 3. Personally, I hope that they're not just limited to small units like this, like the Space Marine Eliminators and Suppressors were. It'd be quite nice to have a whole horde of them going forwards if you could. The other unit of Cerberus Flamey Dog Horses are the Cerberus Raiders, and these are the ones that look a lot more like the Skitarii Rangers, rather than the Vanguard type cavalry, which is what the Sulfahounds seem to be. The Cerberus Raider cavalry have only received one leak rule in the Archeo Revolver. This one's a 12-inch pistol weapon with strength 5, AP-2 and damage 2. So pretty decent at punching through Primaris Marines at close. To me it looks like this could be a squad sergeant type weapon, as the other squad members in the previews seem to be armed with some manner of rifles. I'll be interested to see if they get this breath attack the same as the Sulfahounds. They do seem to have some sort of chemical tank thing going on underneath their muzzle, but not quite as obvious a huge flamer barrel as the Sulfahounds have, so it'll be interesting to see what sort of thing that they do. In any case, I strongly suspect they have pretty bad breath. If we move on to the Pteraxii units now, these ones are two different units called the Skystalkers and the Sterilizers. The Skystalkers have been confirmed to be armed with a flechette carbine, basically the same weapon that the Sicarian infiltrators get. With the sheer amount of shots that they get, they're going to be doing some swooping hawk shenanigans there, just pumping out tons and tons of accurate strength 3 fire with their Assault 5 24-inch range weapon. Now I've gone back to double check the Sicarian infiltrators datasheet. Their weapon is actually Pistol 5 12-inch range, so this is very much a rifle equivalent of the flechette weaponry. Having longer range definitely means that they'll have better choice of targets. If they're efficient enough, then maybe they could be used as a screen clearing type of unit, and I've already seen people talking about them online, thinking that they might be a good target for the Wrath of Mars stratagem from the Mars Forge world to get a bunch of mortal wounds on the go, if you can take them in 10 strong units. The other weapon that they've teased is the Phosphor Torch, which is for the Sterilizers, and this was certainly one that I was very interested to see just from the look of it. It looks sort of halfway between a flamer and a melter gun, and from its profile it looks like it's going to be more on the flamer side of things. The Phosphor Torch is essentially a 12-inch flamer with strength 4, AP-1 and also ignores cover, much like the Sulfur Breath of the horses. Being 12 inches means that it's just a lot more workable on the table, and it means that after your deep strike you will be able to shoot with it, which is a major issue that really holds back flamers in other areas. Just like the Sulfur Breath, AP-1 and ignores cover is really handy for engaging all manner of light infantry targets, and it's certainly going to be an absolute pain to try and charge these guys if they're all blazing away with 12-inch flamers that are very hard to avoid. On top of this, they do have a little bit of melee threat as well, with their Pteraxii Talons. These just make their attacks AP-1 rather than AP nothing, and they also give you a strength characteristic of +1 if they either charged or made a heroic intervention. The mentioning of a heroic intervention is kind of interesting. I'll admit it to be really quite cool if they got a special character that gained these sort of abilities, but on the other hand they might just be future-proofing the rule against potential updates or interesting rule interactions in the future. I think having Deep Strike plus some decent range threat and a fair amount of melee threat. Looks like these guys are going to be a pretty good skirmishing unit on paper, though I do accept that at the moment this is a very incomplete picture. We need points cost, defensive profiles, and any other abilities that the units have to make a more informed decision. Even though they do all put out a reasonable amount of good generalist firepower, they are all quite close range, and they're generally a bit specialised towards light infantry, which means that I do think that they will have to be fairly cheap if this is going to be efficient, particularly as I can't see them being incredibly tough to take out in terms of defensive profiles. But I guess we'll have to wait and see with the knowledge of what they have, and any other interesting buffs that we get in Engine War. I'll most certainly be covering all the new rules that come out alongside Engine War, in particular the Adeptus Mechanicus, and I'm hoping to do a full faction review for the Admech at the time. If you'd like to see more, then feel free to subscribe to Auspex Tactics, where we have regular 40k content coming out every single day, and we'll be taking a look at any previews that come out along the way as well. If you've been enjoying the channel regularly, then any support on Patreon is greatly appreciated. It does keep these videos coming, so if you are wanting more videos from the channel, there is a link down in the description for the Patreon channel. A massive thank you to my current Patreons for getting the channel to where it is today. In any case, a big thank you for listening, and I'll hope to see you guys next time.